your ball in the trees and then you lip out the puck. But if you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us, 'cause now you're listening to the Rough Cut.
Hello, and bonjour as you join the Rough Cut Golf Podcast on the road in France. We are currently at Le Bordes, one of the most exclusive, beautiful golf clubs on the planet. And we thought, why not do a podcast while we're all cuddled up inside one of the lodges as a passing rain shower gives a verdant greenness to the courses outside. I am joined by Samuel and by Kieran. We're all using big official names now because we're at a posh place.
You can't really get mine doesn't go any longer, neither does yours. So it only applies to Sam.
No, my abbreviation is literally one letter.
P?
No, Peter, rather than Peter. I mean, we could come up with a nickname for you, Kieran.
Yeah.
Kieran. Oh, so it's Kiki. That works.
Kiki, yeah.
You have been Kiki for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, how's that fit? Is that okay?
That's fine.
Fantastic.
That's absolutely fine.
Wonderful. Well, we've established new names for ourselves at the start of this podcast. As mentioned, we're in Le Bordes. We're going to do like a big Q&A today. We're shooting this, recording this on, what day is it? Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah.
So the kind of events that are happening this weekend, we won't know the results. The Le Golf National, the French Open, is actually on the same time in Paris, 2 hours north of here. And I don't think they're faring much better with the weather.
No,
it's not good.
It's not good. Hopefully they will blow through by tomorrow and they can play. But I just want to say huge congratulations to...
I'm going to say Billy Horschel.
Billy Horschel?
Well done, Billy Horschel.
Well done, Billy. I mean, amazing. Like that, is that going to be back-to-back wins for him, technically, on the DP World Tour?
No, because he played in the Alfred.
He played the Alfred Dunhill,
yeah.
Hey, listen, it's hard to go back-to-back. We all know that.
But 2 and 3 is not bad at all.
Incredible play.
It's great work.
Yeah, everyone thought here that like Le Golf National would suit your game down to the ground, Billy, as well. So we're happy that you came through.
We're all on Team Billy. You guys got another guess? No? We're all
No,
Team
we're
Billy.
all Team
We're
Billy,
all Team
yeah.
Billy. Oh, right. Okay, well done.
We're all Team Billy. I mean, the DP World Tour is literally hammering him on their socials as well.
Yeah.
It's almost like no one else is playing right now. So hopefully you do well, Billy. Fingers crossed. Of course you will.
Yeah. You know he sold his like West Ham bag?
One of them.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, but he
One
did,
from the Open it was.
Yeah, does he still rock the West Ham bag? I don't think he did.
I've heard through the grapevine he might actually want to support a proper team now.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Especially with all them fans just screaming,
Irons. Yeah. He wants to support a team with like I don't know what was
Bees.
it? Was it, yeah, like Brentford. Bees.
Bees.
Who's got like an unusually long, let's say Everton. Like no one's going to be running around screaming toffees at people, are they? Toffees. Actually, no, that could work. Anyway, Get down to the comments. Let us know what team Billy Horschel should support rather than the absolute disgrace to football, which is West Ham United. What? It's fine. I can say this. Like I'm Switzerland. I'm a Preston North End fan. Yeah. Like I am. Apart from Lancashire derbies, we're the most inoffensive team in the world because we never beat anybody.
Like, no draws.
Perpetual losers.
Yeah, did we just lose or draw? Like we're so friendly.
You love a draw.
Yeah.
Do love a 0-0 draw. Like we were on TV again the other day. 0-0 Burnley. Thanks for coming.
You should do that thing. You know how like last year I swear like this guy bet like Scotty Scheffler top 10 every like tour event. You should do every single game 0-0. Like draw 0-0 because you'll get like 26 odds for that. So it might be quite a good like. You know, you might make a good return on it. You know what I mean?
Well, Kieran, I don't gamble because it's a sin. Yeah. As mentioned, we are at Le Bordes. We've done quite a few videos actually here. We've only been here for 2-3 days now. But we managed to get a lot done, and I think this might become a place that we come back to because it is absolutely beautiful. It's spectacular. We're in the Loire Valley, which is like 2 hours south of Paris. It's just it's just countryside, but more. Everything's just green. There's wild boar. There's deer. There's lots of animals everywhere. Mushrooms. Love mushrooms.
Carp. Lots of carp. Yeah,
carp. I'm not sure they're indigenous though. I think they might have just been put in the lakes to retrieve balls or say hello to the guests.
That caterpillar as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that kind of. There's one.
One caterpillar.
There's one massive caterpillar just roaming the golf course, sweeping all the others up.
Yeah, no, it's a very cool place. Very, 2 great golf courses. Well, 3 great golf courses as well.
Yeah, true. Got the wild piglet.
We call the wild piglet. Yeah,
Not
no.
the little piglet.
Not the little piggy,
No.
no.
Yeah, no, that's probably one of the best par 3 courses I've ever seen.
Is it?
I,
Yeah, it's a
I-
very
I-
good par 3 course.
I don't know if I could name. I don't think I could name one better.
Could you,
No,
could you name one at all?
That becomes a problem. Oh, it's the best par 3 course I've ever played. Have you played any others? Nope.
No, but obviously, like I said, probably the best one I've been to. I mean, you've obviously been to the what's it, the Bad Little Nine.
Yeah.
So that's that looks amazing. But no, I don't think I've been to I don't know. Have you guys been to a obviously?
I mean, Bad Little
have.
9 is awesome. Yeah.
I've been to Southport Golf Academy,
that's
which
9
is
hours.
9 holes of just nothing.
Just nothing.
It's just flags in the ground, and that's it.
Brutal. I can't say I've ever been. What's the one in Lytham St Anne's? The little, it's like, I think it might be an 18-hole pitch and putt. I remember going there as a kid and it being amazing. Mm-hmm. There you go. That's our next video. Lytham St Anne's, we're coming for you.
Yeah.
So these videos, they'll be coming out very, very soon. We put a question out on socials to get your questions in for the podcast, and we're going to get through them. I think we've got about 9 or 10 from all the different kind of angles. We didn't put a question out on LinkedIn, and I don't think we put a question out on MySpace, but apart from that, we've got it all covered.
Yep. Question number 1.
And we're going straight into it. Sam's got someone to be.
I don't, but the people want their answers. And
They do.
You're here to provide them.
Okay. We are here to provide
Well,
them.
we are, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the first one's you.
All right.
Why the change? This is from Stevie _B7 on Instagram. Why the change from the lab to the Jailbird?
Yeah, so I've, if you can see in the background here, I've switched putters. So I've been using the lab for kind of a fair few months, actually. It's quite a long time for me. Like this is one of the longest term relationships I've ever had with
This is a long relationship.
Yeah. I mean, we've met each other's parents. We've gone on a holiday together. Like
We've done a lot of holidays together.
We've done a lot, but there's nothing wrong with the lab. Like
It's not you, it's me.
There's nothing wrong with the lab. I just want something a little bit different to look at. Like
Right.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Like some people would say that the lab's ugly. I would say beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and I will defend my lab in every social situation that I go to. But I woke up one morning and I thought,
Is this the life I want to lead?
is this who I am? Is this who I am? And I made the decision that I wanted to try something a little bit different. So I went out, I went shopping round, and I saw this Jailbird.
But
The tale is all the time, man.
yeah. So the Jailbird is obviously the one that like everyone won with last year. So
I mean, Kieran's editing this as far as the video is concerned, so we'll throw a picture up now. And it was the one that was used by Ricky Fowler, Wyndham Clark, and it kind of went into a lot of players' bags, which does happen a lot. Now, you would think that tour pros especially would be immune to the influence of other players. Like, you think that if Ricky Fowler puts that in the bag, for example, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. And as an amateur, I might get that putter thinking it would improve my putting.
yeah.
Like, you see Ricky Fowler, Wyndham Clark win with it, and all the other pros are like, well, maybe I'll give that a go. Maybe it'll improve my chances. It's weird. You see it with training aids as well. As soon as you go on a range and someone's using a training aid, you can see... You see everyone like craning their necks looking over, and then the next day there's about 5 of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the question. I just fancied a change. There's honestly nothing wrong with the lab. And I could still put it back in the bag. No doubt about that. Like, we're just on a bit of a break. And just giving the Jailbird a bit of a go, because it does look really nice behind the ball. Probably the biggest contrast between the two is I love the way that the Jailbird looks. Is it Jailbird or Jailbreak?
Jailbird, isn't it? Pretty sure. Jailbird, yeah.
Jailbird.
Yeah.
I love the way that the Jailbird
Questioning
looks.
yourself.
I know, I'm questioning myself. Behind the ball, it's got the Versa design. It sits nice. It's a counterbalance putt, the one I've got, so it flows really nice through impact. I've changed my grip that I was using with the lab as well, and that feels nice on there as well. I would say that the lab is maybe a little bit more consistent sometimes when I'm putting, but that just feels a bit better. So, yeah, I didn't switch out because I particularly didn't like the lab.
Yeah.
Just wanted to try something different.
Yeah, I think your putting has actually been, your mid to short range putting has been very, very good this year. But just like your longer distance of like your pace putting has always been a bit of an issue.
Control.
Yeah.
But you were saying that a lot of the pace control problems were just being on loads of different greens. And
Yeah, I mean, going from week to week this year, especially we're doing so much traveling that, we could put on really fast greens one week. And then we talked about Manchester Open again. We've talked about this. Like, we've gone from, say, Manchester Open 1 week, and then the week before,
like Creator Classic Eastlake.
Yeah.
It's basically like two extremes.
like you're talking about the fastest greens on the PJ Tour, and then the slowest greens in Manchester. Like there's
a contrast.
Where greens go to die.
There's no way that you're going to be able to consistently control your pace on that kind of green. Like, if you're naturally a good putter, potentially, but that's not me. Ultimately, it just comes down to practice. But I feel that we've had a decent start.
And going into next year, obviously, like you're going to be probably doing, more competitions and stuff like that. Are you thinking you want to just find your putter early on, and then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's finding one, it's sticking to it, but essentially, I don't think I'm there yet with it. I don't think I'm there yet with it, but I've never been there with any putter. Like, I might just be that guy who just keeps changing putters, because I do go through that like honeymoon phase.
You do.
Potentially, I just need to change my putter every 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's all in your head.
Yeah,
just keep going round and round and round with them all.
Yeah. So there we go. Done. Thank you. Wow. Pop psychology lesson.
Oh my god.
Well, I've got no segue. I was looking for one.
Oh no, I mean Q&As. We can just like bust
yeah,
it.
just
I'll tell you
I
what.
was trying to find a thread, but
I'll tell you what's a good segue though. Something that everyone should try is subscribing to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. If you are listening to us on your favorite podcast provider, make sure you add us to your reminder list so you'll never miss an episode. Because what would you do for this hour if you weren't listening to us?
that is true. And we are on social.
And we're on social as well. Yeah.
Okay, so this one is a little bit more of a group question.
Oh.
Well, it's for you to answer, but Chris Wilco Golf has asked, who is the easiest and the hardest to give a lesson to out of the crew, and give us a general summary of our game. I may regret asking this question.
You know what? I would say that everyone's games in the Finch Golf Media group, it matches their personality pretty well. Like,
Where's this going?
Sam, for example, like when he catches it, it's long, it's straight, it runs for 1,000,000 miles, but then every now and again you just catch him wandering off into the woods, not really knowing what's happening.
Not every now and again, like 80% of the time. Yeah.
Like Kieran is like disorganized, it's unconnected, it's wild at time. The swing is prone to damaging clubs, but somehow in the end it works. No one knows how, but the end result usually is a handicap, which is pretty low. David's swing is broken. There's nothing I can do about that, really. David's a really... I used to have lessons like David quite a lot. It's really interesting, and you kind of have a look at David's swing, you analyze it, you show. He's got like a very long back... He's got a very long overswing. But he's got a very long overswing, which is caused by his body having limited rotations. So he tries to make up the speed by adding loads of wrist hinge, by lifting the arms out of connection, all the rest of it. So you can show him it, you can like take him through the movements. He's got a bit of a bad back, so he's kind of limited in what he can do. But you get him into positions, you get, okay, good, sorted, great. Next swing is literally exactly the same. And to try and break through that initial barrier is really difficult. But like, I've not given a lesson to David in a long time. I don't think I've ever given a lesson to you, Sam. I've given a few lessons to Kieran, and it got frustrating for both of us.
Yes. Yeah.
Mostly because he just didn't believe what I was telling him until I showed him, and then he still wouldn't believe it. So I checked out after that. Jacob was actually making really big improvements. Jacob gets a little bit. Well, he used to get kind of out to win and then scoop it. Used to go really high. We got on working it a little bit more shallow. Still kind of flips at the bottom a touch, so it's quite a floaty ball flight. But his game's actually improved a lot. Mick was. I've given a few lessons to Mick, and Mick managed to change his swing really quickly, and it got better instantly, and he was striping it. But like most of us, really, because he wasn't practicing quite enough, it's just slipped back to kind of where it was, which is fair enough. It's understandable. So just some hours stuck in there. But no, that was really good. I think that's everyone.
That's everyone. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
everyone.
You're not forgetting anyone.
I'm not forgetting
Yeah,
anyone.
yeah.
I mean, listen,
There's not that many of us.
not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Some great news, by the way. Sitting out of the corner of your eye. We have a video which is exported, which we're having some trouble with today. Coming last Thursday, so you've probably already seen it. Hopefully, Manchester Open.
Yeah, very, very good.
Give it a watch. Yeah, well, that's good information.
Thank you. Thank you
That's a
very
good
much.
summary. That's a good summary. That. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think you've only seen me play golf once.
I've seen you swing it enough times. I've seen some things happen.
I didn't play very well that day either. Okay, so on to more professional, sort of the more professional world. Ross Mack has asked, if you, Peter Finch, had the choice to play on any tour, PGA Tour, Live, or DP World, which would you choose?
Great question.
Oh my god.
That's a great question.
I might have to come at this from a fair few angles. So I'd say as a pro growing up, I'd probably say European Tour, DP World Tour as it is now, because that's what I grew up watching more than anything. I knew all the players there. There were a lot of golfers on there that I looked up to, that I wanted to emulate. And that was like always a goal as a kid, play on the European Tour. I loved the idea of that, like the stories, the history, the events that they have. Loved all of that. I think from a subjective standpoint, like if you want to play the best player still, it's PGA Tour. It's got the fullest schedule. It still has those historic events and those leanings that you can, feel like when you are the best player on the PGA Tour, you're probably the best player in the world. I think you could still make that argument. And the changes that they made recently as well, like the shorter schedules, the amount of money that you play for has gone up significantly. It's just more difficult to get onto. Live, at what stage in this imaginary world where I'm actually playing on tour, have I already been playing on tour? Am I a good golfer, for example? Because if I'm going to go play on Live, the chances are I'm getting signed. Am I going to get offered? Am I going to get offered 50 million to go to Live? That's what I'm asking.
That's what you want to know, don't you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, maybe it's you as like a really sort of low level.
So I'm going
You're
through the
thinking
qualifying
about,
series.
Yeah, thinking about which is the one you can achieve.
Yeah.
And like you can really go in and out it that way.
Yeah, Live would be interesting because you can go through the qualifying series and you can try and get on there, but there are so few spaces that it's really difficult. I think realistically, probably wouldn't be Live because I wouldn't see a route on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like with the other one, with the PGA Tour and European Tour, even though they're not perfect by any means, there are issues there as far as qualifying goes. There's a pretty clear path.
Do you think that Live has a long way to go for that side of things? Like just access?
It does, but at the same time, it does have a long way to go for access, but at the same time, does it need that? Does that matter? Because
if they want to be the future of golf, then it kind of has to be a big part of it, surely.
Yeah, but they're recruiting directly from like colleges now. Like David Puig, however you pronounce his surname, still nobody knows. Like he was got directly from college, and he's an exceptional golfer.
That's a very, again, not to playing devil's advocate. That's very then American centric system as well. Like if you don't go through the US, where are you coming from?
It is, but I don't think Live particularly care about that. And also with Live, their whole premise and the whole thing that they want to do is get the best players possible. And if they recruit them, let's say someone comes through European Tour, gets on the PGA Tour, becomes a winner, and Live like the look of them, they go, okay, well, there's 100 million. Do you want to come
Use
play
the
with us?
PGA Tour as a feeder tour.
Yeah, and you could get to this stage where you have the European Tour through this strategic partnership with the PGA Tour seems to become somewhat of a feeder tour for the PGA Tour. And if you get to the top of the rankings on the PGA Tour, you're going to be winning a lot of money. You're going to be really well off. You're going to have a fantastic life. But then you could have the choice of staying there. And if Live like luckier, you could go play there. That is realistically what could happen if Live keep putting the money in there.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is like get to the top of the creator tree, form a creator team, get some eyeballs on there.
Is that what you'd call it? The creator team?
I don't know, what would you call it?
I don't know. You just got to... I mean, there's some wild sort of names going at the moment, isn't there? So I just think there could be something a little bit better than creator, but along the right lines. I completely get it.
Okay. Get into the comments. Who would your creator team be for Live, and what would it be called? What would it be
Great.
called?
I like that. We haven't really touched on it just before we go on to the next question. We haven't really touched on the fact that obviously like Luke and Luke Wan, Mac Boucher, Tucker Golf are going into this series. Like, what's your kind of view on that?
Great.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that's
Amazing. I mean, if you've not seen this, so Luke, Taco, and Mac, they've all been invited to the Singapore,
Singapore.
Thailand Open, and it's a proper professional tour event, big prize money. They've been invited by the sponsors to play for the reasons that, you know, we're seeing more and more that this event wants more eyeballs. They want more engagement. So why not?
Yeah.
Like, why not?
That's a great opportunity for them.
Yeah. And I'm definitely going to be taking I'm going to be taking an interest in it.
100%.
Like, so it's like...
On the queue at Myrtle Beach that we did this year has opened so many eyeballs, and it's given so much impetus for creators who play professionally or are professional golfers or good golfers to get invites into these events. Because sponsors are going to be looking at it. Certainly if you're a title sponsor of these events and you think, well, who am I going to give this invite to? Am I going to give it to like a tour pro who's been around a long time? Am I going to give it to, like, I would still say, like, give it to young golfers coming through, give them the opportunity if they want to be tour pros. But if those bases have been covered and you've got spare spots, like, why not? Like,
definitely.
Invite creators. You're going to get so many more eyeballs on your event. You're going to get so much more interest in what's going on. And literally the worst thing that could happen is whoever's invited doesn't play well, finishes near the bottom. All that's going to do is add to the contrast of how good the players actually are competing in this event. It's a no-lose situation.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to happen more and more and more.
And I think like all three of those have, obviously great golfers anyway, and within their own right. So
really good.
They're going to have a chance, you know.
Really good.
So it's going to be, really interested to see.
Yeah, that'd be a good one to follow. On to the next one. Speaking on the sort of the continuation of YouTube and the sort of the continued growth of YouTube golf, Matt Lee has asked, do you have a sense of where the YouTube channel and the podcast, I guess he means ours, will go over the next 10 years or more even?
It's like an interview question.
That's a tricky one. This was always like the worst interview question as well when I was going for jobs.
Yeah.
Because in my head I was like,
where do you see yourself in 10 years?
In my head I was like, I literally just remembered I had this interview this morning. So how am I going to remember 10? How am I going to know where I'm at in 10 years? Like literally, I don't know where I'm going tonight. Like after this podcast, I don't know what I'm going to do.
True.
So it's such a difficult one. When I've thought about it, when I've looked into it, I always thought at this point that I would have probably stopped doing YouTube videos. In my head, once I kind of reached mid-30s beyond, I was like, this is when I started off. I was like, would I really still want to be doing YouTube when I'm kind of reaching the end of my 30s? And I didn't think I would. But now, like what we're doing and the videos...
It's just so different though to what you were doing back then.
That's what I mean. It's completely different. So
it's not even recognisable to the same kind of thing. It's like just...
So it's so hard to give a prediction on where I could be in 10 years when realistically the golf YouTube landscape has changed drastically within the last 2.
Yeah. Well, just YouTube as well in the last 5,
Oh,
everything. So
Yeah, like 6 or 7 years ago, YouTube was this. Putting
Yeah.
a camera at your own face. And
Yeah.
that was it. And
Yeah.
then now it's like television level
it
production.
it's like asking for a direction when the compass is continually spinning. Like you can set off in one way, but by the time you think you arrive, you might be pointing in the wrong place. It's something which is so ever changing. I really don't know. The only thing that I would really want to do, and I think something that we could add value in, is let's say having, and we've seen this all the time, that brands and companies and people within the golf industry, they're always looking for like production companies, and they're looking for people to manage projects. I think that's something that we could go into, but that's in the future. We are so far away from having our own kind of brand and identity nailed down that's in the future. But it's exciting to think that that's where we could go. As far as the podcast, the podcast is the same. Like it's weird because we're approaching 100 episodes. I still don't think we've found our niche with it yet. I still don't think we found our stride. I still don't think we found a format which is what we will do going forward, which for me is great. I think we're still like top 4 podcast UK as far as like golf is concerned. I think we're definitely in the top 100 sport. Yeah. So it's kind of like doing all that and just learning as you go and still having a relatively good amount of success with it. Again, who knows?
It's definitely very exciting. Definitely massive ceiling. So it's cool.
Yeah, there is no ceiling.
Yeah, no, 100%.
No.
I think from the podcast perspective as well, and obviously the guys listening, you guys listening, it'll be interesting to know what you guys want to see in the future as well. That'd be something that we'd all be interested to sort of know what you guys want more of, all this sort of stuff. So yeah, get on the comments. That'd be great.
Even like outside of the podcast itself, like, do you want more from less me because I'm not regular, but these guys, like, what more do you want to see from like Kieran, Jacob, Mick?
Well, because that's the thing as well. Like we've got some like me, like everyone here. So me and Kieran, like very different kind of people, different perspectives. You've got Jacob, super analytical. You got Mick, like wild at times with his thoughts, and he just brings something completely different, a different perspective. And that's the key. Like we're all bringing something different. Like the Discord community, like Mick's pretty much just managing that, engaging this community, and like when Sam comes on, you again something different. When David comes on, David actually wanted to be on the podcast with us.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he's starting to get into it.
And this is what I mean. This is what I mean about how much we're changing as like a group, as people, and expanding and growing going forward. Which is why I'm so excited. Like to think that David would have volunteered to come on a podcast 4 years ago, I couldn't have thought of that. Yeah, it's great. I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, but I'm excited. That's probably the big takeaway from me in my head. I'm excited, and I think we can grow and expand to be something pretty big.
Absolutely.
Within golf, YouTube, space.
Well, maybe you never know.
Or we are hanging around some really smart people. We could invent something.
Yeah, we gotta just become Baron Bick.
We need to invent something.
Yeah.
If you've got any ideas, let us know.
Any inventions? Okay, back to professional golf again. And Richard Ashton has asked, says, I think this is a good question. Would a true world golf tour produce different types of winners, or are the best still the best?
I think the best are still the best. I think if you look at someone like Scotty Scheffler, Tiger, these players that have been at the top of the game for a certain amount of time. Obviously, Scotty's nowhere near Tiger's level yet. Tiger, when you look at the stats, is just on a different level altogether. But if you could put those players in any situation on any course, and you still fancy them to come out on top, you still fancy them to win. I think there's a difference though when you start to get to, let's say, Asian courses which have particularly, strong amounts of grain, for example. If you take your average British golfer and put them on that course initially, that's going to be a real struggle because grain reading and those greens are very different than what we would play on normally. You see this with a lot of American players coming over to links courses. Like American players have a good amount of success within the Open, Generally, first time, not so much, because again, it is a different turf, it's a different style. It's such a hard one to answer. I think generally yes, but when you go to these home opens, there's a reason that there were 3 Spanish players vying for the top position at the Spanish Open a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Do you think if there was more opportunities to play in different places, do you think the way people played would change? Like, would there be more variation in the way people play golf because of the different kinds of places they have to play?
We would have a crop of much more skilled golfers. There's absolutely no doubt about that. You know, if you think about the Sandbelt courses in Australia and how you would play them compared to a soft course in upstate New York, like, it's completely different type of golf. The skilled players would be able to manage it, but you think how good Scotty Scheffler is now. You imagine Scotty Scheffler as he plays throughout the year at all these different courses.
Yeah.
Like, you could make the argument that the best would still get better. So
I'm just thinking of it like from a cricket perspective, like wherever you go in the world, it's always like a totally different game. But like, obviously the best still perform on those stages, but like, there's people who are more suited to certain environments than others.
Like, think about Nadal on clay, for example.
Yeah, and Dennis as well. Yeah,
like pretty much unbeatable, wasn't he? So you do get. I mean, Peter Thompson at the Open, what did he win? Like 5-6 times or something.
You'll get if it's a links course, you'll get sort of, obviously the best of the best will always be up there, but you'll get like the people that are always doing well in the links courses and stuff, and then like you say, you go to a Parkland or all these sorts of things. Everyone will have their own favourite sort of.
Yeah. I mean, you get specialties. I mean, look at. I'm not saying this is going to happen completely, but you have players like Bryson. He's got 2 US Opens now, and when you look at Bryson, you think, you know what, that is somebody who can win a lot of US Opens.
Yeah.
And then when he comes over to the Open,
he's nowhere to be seen, sort of thing. Sometimes, yeah.
So it's such that is a different kind of type of golf, and it takes a different approach. But
it's the fact that obviously, like, if this was a world tour, you know, you're having to check. I don't know what the schedule would look like, but you would imagine that you're changing so much and having to adapt. It's I think it'd be great. I think it'd be very cool spectacle to kind of watch. You know,
I mean, it'd be great to happen. It'd be great to happen. I think that's what a lot of people actually want to happen as well.
It might end up being though, like, a bit more spare in the golf in a lot of ways, just because I suppose when it's in America, people can base themselves in America and they're not traveling loads. But like, if you've got players who have to be in Australia, like they live, like they do that, don't they? But they have a whole lot less tournaments than the PGA Tour.
It's the same. It's going to be the same in most situations. Like, the people who would benefit the most from that are going to be fans. A world tour, the fans would benefit from that the most, because they get to see all this exciting action, different places, different courses. But if you are, we'll keep using Scotty as an example, like, without any basis of proof to this. But if you think you're Scotty Scheffler, you're based in the States, you're the best player in the world, you're earning an absolute bucket load of money every single year, you've got a young family, are you realistically going to want to be away from home for 6 months?
He doesn't want to enter into that. No, I would have thought. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Interesting one. Very
for sure.
Very, very good question. That
It'll never happen.
Back to the Peter Finch golf game. Why have you, Peter Finch, changed back to regular grips and steered away from the big fat grips?
I am getting this question a lot.
Yeah, there's been a lot of these questions recently in the social comments.
So, to kind of round this up into a very succinct sentence, paragraph, maybe short story, I was using normal grips for as long as I can remember, and I started to get really bad pain in my wrists and in my hands. This happened over the course of a few seasons, and it ended up at the English PGA Championship, which I qualified through for, at Bowood. After 2 rounds of playing awful golf, my wrist was it was in absolute agony. Just couldn't hold the club. It was terrible. So I started looking around, figuring out what I could do. Could I change my grip? Could I alter my technique? What's going to happen? And then there's a company called Jumbo Max Grip. They make the same grips that are on Bryson DeChambeau's clubs, and they are absolutely gigantic. It is like wrapping a hose pipe around the end of your club. But I thought one of the reasons that this was being marketed and targeted was it apparently would help ease wrist pain. So I thought, okay, let's give it a go. So got them through, put them on my clubs. They felt a bit strange to begin with, had to alter my technique a little bit. But over the course of the next few months, my pain in my hands and my wrist really did start to subside until the point where I could practice for long periods without any pain. And then when I got my clubs this year, I just had normal jumbo Golf Pride grips on there. And so far, apart from a tiny flare-up a few weeks ago, I've had absolutely no issues. So I don't know if using the Jumbo Max grips kind of solved and helped get rid of that wrist pain, or if it was just coincidence that at that time my wrist started to get better. I don't know. I have absolutely no medical proof to say it either way.
Yeah.
Did the technique change that you enacted help with the wrist as well as the... So it could just be that the change that you've made on the thinner grips is...
Potentially, but now I've gone back to the normal grips.
Oh, right.
It's not come back. And I've gone back to like a normal standard grip that I used to use. So I honestly, I can't say for sure.
That's weird.
And so I don't know. But if I was to switch back to Jumbo Max grips, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I've really enjoyed using them. So
Yeah. You still do have like semi-thick. They are thick. They're not like
they're
your sort
not
of.
the thinner ones.
They're
Yeah,
not
they're-
thin ones. They are.
they're jumbo grips. I think if most people picked on my clubs, they would think, wow, they're thick grips.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
But compared to the Jumbo Max, they're like pencils.
Yeah, true. But and would you say that you get more feel? Like, what did you prefer in terms of overall? Obviously, like injury wise, yeah, okay. Well, at the moment you're not seeing much of a difference, but like, did you feel that there's more feel in the smaller grips, or
Not really.
No?
Not really, but it's so subjective. Like, it was a different feel, but it wasn't any less pleasurable when you struck a good shot, or
Yeah.
it wasn't any less frustrating when you hit a bad one.
Right, got you,
It's just a
got you.
bit different.
yeah,
But the swing was, the swing had to alter because of that change.
yeah,
Would you, does it, if you're advising someone, like, would you say that it matters a lot, or is it based just purely on like what feels the most comfortable?
No, it definitely matters. Certainly if you're looking at getting something as extreme as a Jumbo Max grip, because it is quite an extreme change, especially the large ones. Like, you can't physically grip them in the same way as you can a normal grip. Like, your hands just won't fit in the same position. And what Bryson does with his, he has the grip running up through the middle of his palm, because that allows him to have a weak left-hand grip, but then coming into impact, his lead wrist is in flexion. So it's in a bowed position, which then strengthens the club face, and it compensates for the weak left-hand grip. So that is a direct correlation between wrist position, grip, and grip because of the type of grip used.
yeah.
So it all folds in together. So if you are going to change to something like that, please be aware that you will have to alter things.
Yeah. Is that the club going through the palm of your hand? Is that exactly what you're told not to do?
Yeah, I mean, you're normally told to grip it from
Fingers.
kind of like the middle of the bottom of the hand as it runs, through the bottom of the fingers.
Yeah.
So you could wrap your hand over like that, whereas Bryson holds it pretty much there. But he has a very upright stance as well.
Yeah, it's like that, isn't it? Yeah, interesting. Sorry, I didn't say who asked that question. It was Stefan Fumat. I'm pronouncing that right.
Thank you, Stefan.
Um,
He was angrily typing there as well.
Just getting ready
That's Sam.
to unfollow. Okay, Alex C on X, or Twitter as it used to be known.
Let's just call it Twitter.
Yeah, it's cool.
Can we go back to Twitter, please?
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
We've had this experiment now. It's over now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, stop messing around.
Twitter and European Tour.
Yeah,
That's the- yeah.
I don't think we're being old or we're being like fuddy about it. I think they're just generally better names.
Yeah.
X is too ambiguous. It's too random. If you could change one rule in golf, what would it be? Personally, one I have is a leaf ball. Playing the local parkland courses, you know where your ball is, but it's been swallowed up by all the leaves. You get to place a new ball down, and it's a no penalty.
I mean, that is a good one.
I like that one.
Well, the Manchester Open the other day, I hit a ball into some trees, and it was literally in the middle of a massive sweep of leaves that the greenkeepers had put. So we were like literally kicking through this massive clump of leaves trying to find my ball. Fortunately, we did. But that was the case. We knew exactly where it had gone, but like realistically, we might not have found it. So I think that's a good rule to change. Obviously, easy to manipulate, some would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, so is golf. Like if you're just playing with your mates, you can cheat in any way you like. You know.
I mean, listen, golf is a gentleman's game, and one of the reasons why it is so good is that it relies on the players to self-enforce the rules.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, across the wide scope of history which golf has endured, there have been occasions where people have been accused of bending and breaking those rules. In other words, being naughty, naughty cheaters.
Shock.
And if the rules are relaxed and they're less stringent, they're more open and they're more easy to change in a way that would benefit you as a golfer, then more people are going to take advantage of that. That's obvious.
Yep.
And you see this every day not every day, but every week on tour events. Was it Xander the other day who got a free drop because a pylon was in the way of him and a green, but he was underneath a tree?
Yeah. That's definitely utilising it.
So he would never have been able to like play that shot, but because he had a line of sight issue, he could take a drop away from it. Would you remember at Pinehurst?
With Bryson, this is literally what I was about to say.
Yeah, and what did you remember us at Pinehurst? When I hit a shot to the right of a par 4 green, I was blocked out by the bushes, but pretty much right in front of my ball, about 4 paces in between me and the pin, was a big metal box.
Oh, God, yeah.
So I got to take a drop away from it and hit it onto the green. Obviously, it doesn't make too much of a difference for me. It's a YouTube video, and I'm not playing for millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But still, I was like, when I did it, I thought,
That doesn't seem right.
this feels like cheating.
Yeah.
I saw one on Instagram the other day. I can't remember who it was in the clip, but so he had like probably 100 yards in. He had a tree, like a massive tree, right in front of him from him to the flag. It was like the thickest tree you've ever seen. He had a grandstand on the left side, and he was trying to argue that he was gonna slice it round the tree onto the green. But the grandstand was in the way, so I can't slice it. But like, it was just a straight. Without the tree, it's just a straight 100-yard shot.
God.
And it was like, I need to move it, and the rules official said no.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Good. That's what we need more of. Not change your rules, just more rules officials that don't care.
I'm not. The guy was like, well, what about this guy last week? I saw him do this, and he went, I wasn't there. Sorry.
We need more rules officials that have been working like in a really stressful job, and their attitude is it's like 7 o'clock at night, I'm still in the office, and it's Friday.
Can I just go home now?
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
And like that's the headspace they need to get into when they're called out for a rules infringement. I mean, the best one was it. I think John Paramore. I hope this is John Paramore. I hope I'm not like getting another
Slandering
rules official wrong. Because Seve Ballesteros, he was famous for bending the rules, and he was in a bit of a bad lie, and he called John Paramore over, and he says, "Oh, can I get relief here from animal scrapings? Because if you basically are in a scrape by a burrowing animal, you can get relief." So John Paramore comes over, and he knows what Seve's like. He comes over, he says, right, what do you think made it? Like a dog? And Seve goes, yeah, a dog. And he says, well, that's not a burrowing animal. Play your shot.
Nice.
I like that. That's great.
That's
That's
very
good.
So yeah, more rules officials like that. I think as far as like any rules that
I was
could
just
do
trying
with
to-
changing, I've got to be honest, not really. If it finishes in the divot on the fairway,
That's what I was. The one I was
That's
gonna
the
say.
popular one.
honestly, I don't mind it. I think we should keep it because again, it's open to interpretation. How old is the divot? You know
If
what
it's
I
a
mean?
really untended golf course and it's just
Yeah,
divots
Like,
all over
right.
the
if you think about all the courses that we play, let's say, is it still a repaired divot? Do you drop it from the side of a repaired divot? If it's repaired badly, do you get more of a drop than if it's a well-repaired divot? If it's 3 months old, do you get to drop it out of that? If it's sanded? For me, it's unlucky. It's a massive pain in the arse. But all it should do is remind golfers that they need to repair their divots. I don't care about that. For me, things like common sense, things like tapping down spike marks, that's already been brought in. That makes perfect sense. I think they should bring back stymies in match play. That would be hilarious.
Jesus, right.
How good would that be? Stymie, by the way, this is something that used to happen. So most golf back in the day was pure match play. There wasn't any other form. You just played matches against each other. And a stymie was when you could position your ball in between your opponent's ball and the hole. So you had to either hit around it, or there's great like stock footage, I think Pathé footage of golfers like almost deliberately hitting their putts into the ground so it bounces over the ball and then goes in the hole. It's brilliant. Bring that back. Imagine stymies at the Ryder Cup. Imagine Wyndham Clark hitting a putt all across the green from 30 foot. John Rahm's got a putt for birdie and it finishes right in between John Rahm's ball and the hole. Imagine the carnage.
Or even like they're aiming, like they don't think they can. It's like in snooker, if they're just trying to like snooker them, so put their ball right in front of it on purpose so that they can't.
Oh,
You'd start having to get like spin on your putts, like putting across it so that it'd like swaz around.
Screwball it.
Yes,
love it.
Screwing it around there.
Amazing. Yeah, bring that back. Bring back the old school drop. Do you know the old school drop where you used to do it with the shoulders?
Over the shoulder.
Over the shoulders.
Yeah. So the evolution of a drop was a drop you used to put it over your shoulder like that, drop it.
Right.
Then it was the arm's
that's
length
the only
one,
I've
and now
known,
it's that stupid one down by the knee.
Yeah.
Get that out of it. Like literally, what has that added or improved to the game? Absolutely nothing, apart from you look more awkward, and it comes to light. Nobody knows where their knee is. You can drop a ball from knee height. So what do you see? People bending down closer to the... They're literally crouched on the ground and dropping it. Because as you lower yourself to your knee height, your knees go down, so you go lower. It's like a self-perpetuating thing. So by the time
lying on the floor.
Yeah, by the time you drop your ball, you just sat down. Just wondering what's happening. So get that out of it. That's completely pointless. Yeah, that's nonsense.
I think for me, one of them would be, this is really only applicable on tour, would be the slow play. Obviously, there is stuff in place, but I don't know how. It seems still to be a little bit lenient. Patrick Cantlay gets away with it. Xander Schauffele, particularly, is a very slow player, a great player, but very slow player. So,
Would you want shot penalties?
Yeah, it was just something, because
I'm shot.
Sorry, no shot.
Shot on penalty.
Sorry, I was just distracted. It's absolutely pelted it down outside. I was just distracted by that, and I just came back to the conversation. And Sam's like, "Oh, would you want him shot?"
Yeah. No, yeah, just some. I don't know what it would be, but I just think that has to improve. I think it's an unfair advantage for people that play quickly.
Yeah, it's more of like a rules enforcement.
Yes, yeah. There just has to be. Yeah,
you could do away with the playoffs and just do who played fastest.
Yeah.
If two players finish a tournament tied at the top, it's whoever got round quicker.
Instead of count back, dude. Yeah, I like that. That's good.
I love it. Again, let us know what your thoughts are on rules changes. If I'm going to be completely honest, apart from the drop and a few other things, I think we're fine.
Yeah, I think we're fine. The only other thing was the route and like routes. Like I've had balls like, the ball will be there and then you've got a route in front of it. I'm a bit obviously you shouldn't have hit it that. I understand that, but is there any sort of leeway we can get from that? I don't know. But
take a penalty drop.
Yeah, penalty. Yeah, I know. That's what I need to say that, but. That would be one of the things for me because I am always in the bloody trees. So.
Take a photo, drop in a lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm with Alex. I think if on the tour, if a spotter would have found my ball, I should be able to drop it where I think it was. Just free drop. That does my head in that looking for balls that the spotter would have found.
So something like that can be covered by local rules. So there's a few tournaments that I've played when the course has been really wet. If you hit a ball into a fairway or like just off the fairway, for example, and you all agree where about it finished, you can, if you can't find it, you can just like drop it.
Like at Didsbury.
Way wetter than that. I've played in some comps that have, like, they had to be finished and there's rain delays. You go back out, it's just plug it in the fairway.
Right, got you.
So I think something like that makes sense, but that's like a local rule. I don't think that should be across the board.
It doesn't need it for big boys. But I just think that's sometimes where the big boys get an advantage in a lot of ways because they don't have to do all that stuff like looking and searching and messing around all the time.
I do hear this argument.
Yeah, it's always from crap golfers like me.
And I get it. I know it's frustrating when you see a pro hit it into a grandstand and they get a drop, or they've got thousands of people following them. But you know what? Apart from those situations, they're still really good. And
that's the only reason the Scottish Challenge winning tournaments and I'm not.
And the main advantage that they have over everyone else is they just practice really hard, got fantastic at golf, so they deserve a little bit of luck every now and
not
again.
having it. Rubbish.
So you know what? If you sat there and you're moaning that they're getting free drops, go practice harder.
Very good.
And there's that. Speaking of practicing harder and sorting your game out, how do you manage frustrations in golf when you are this is like a bad question to ask you, particularly seem to be struggling with it at the moment. So maybe we should get Lee Crumble home in here instead of
maybe.
How to manage frustrations in golf when you're playing consistently awful but have no time to work on issues. Not each hole, but just to go and play again the following week.
I have a very, very simple answer to this. If you're playing consistently bad golf, and I used to have this when I was coaching a lot. So players would come in, I've going out, I've shot 120, it's so disappointing, I'm going to give up, I hate it, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. I'm really sorry to hear that. That must suck for you, okay? We'll have a lesson. How much can you practice in between now and your next round? Oh, I can't, I'm not going to practice. Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine, and I get it. People don't have time to practice, but you have to judge your ability and the amount that you should allow yourself to get frustrated by the amount of time that you're putting into practice. If you're putting hours into holing 3 to 10 foot putts, and you go out onto the golf course and you don't hole any 3 to 10 foot putts, you can be frustrated. You have a right because you put the time in. If you've not been practicing and you play crap from week to week, it's because you're not practicing. So accept it. There's no point in getting frustrated over something that you've not earned the ability to do.
Yeah.
Like if you stand in front of a water hazard with 300 yards carry and you hit every ball into the water and you're like, oh, I'm so angry, I can't get it over the water. Well, you've not practiced. So why would you be able to get it over the water? Yeah. How could you become frustrated at that? I'm frustrated that I'm a bit overweight. I'm a bit frustrated that I'm not, the healthy hunk that I should be. But you know what? I'm drinking a full fat Coke. So I can't be that frustrated, can I? I can't have reached the point where the frustration tips over into action. And that's the key. And that's where most golfers get to. They do get to a point where they're angry enough to take a lesson to actually practice, and things will generally improve. But if you've not put in the work, you don't have the right to be angry.
Yeah,
so enjoy yourself.
As Padraig would say, are you so arrogant that you think you can hit a good shot every time?
Yeah. And are you so angry that you think you can hit a good shot we never practiced it?
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. It's kind of like, is the saying expectation over reality or sort of something like that? Like that. You know what I mean? It's you've summed it up pretty well there.
There you go, folks. Stop crying. Get in the range.
Golf, and the always thing I always say to myself, golf is so hard. It is such a hard game.
And bear in mind, who asked this question? Sorry, Sam.
It was Mark Roberts.
Mark and everyone else. Even though I've said all that, it is completely understandable. Yeah. That's the other thing, because golf is so frustrating. But you just can't let it get to you, or you'll stop playing.
Yeah,
eventually.
I say stop crying as though I don't do this exact same thing.
Everyone does. Everyone does.
Yeah, that's the tough one.
Yep.
And to round us off, we've got a biggie for you.
Okay.
It's from Chris Noyce. And it's a Noyce question.
Noyce. Okay.
He says, which golf course would you add to the open rota?
Wow.
We were kind of discussing this earlier, which is really, really interesting.
Was it last night, wasn't it?
Last night, yeah. We were literally discussing this last night.
Oh my God. Am I allowed to add stipulations?
What do you mean?
So,
What kind, yeah.
So, for example, I could probably name 10 courses off the top of my head that would be amazing on the open rota, but they're not going to be able to host an open because they don't have that infrastructure. So, am I allowed to like wave a magic wand and give them that infrastructure, or do they have to be ready-made venues?
I think it depends on what kind of infrastructure you're talking about. If it's just
Yeah.
like getting their access to like for fans and stuff, or then yeah, maybe. But if it's like changing the entire sort of vibe of the golf course to suit the way that, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Because there is definitely a lot of golf courses that would be great that just like on an island or whatever, and you just can't get there, and like they should definitely be involved.
okay.
Yeah.
Can't.
So, I mean, I'm gonna cross off some pretty heavy hitters to begin with. Okay, so it's just held the Irish Open. You got Royal County down, an amazing golf course, one of the best ones in the world. I think it shows with the scoring that took place there, it can still hold its own. You've got Portmarnock, which I know has been
Sorry, these are all places that you would have.
that you could add.
Oh, you
yeah,
could
yeah.
have.
add
Right.
them
Sorry.
on, yeah.
Right. Sorry. Yeah, I'm with you now.
Definitely could. So you got Portmarnock, which we were at the other day. Fantastic links course. Again, you'd need to wave a magic wand to try and figure out the access to that point. You got historic venues. You got Prestwick. That could still definitely hold an open, but you need to be able to extend some of those holes to make it a real challenge for the best players in the world. Along that coast on the west, you've got so many places. You've got Turnberry, which really should be on the open rota, but for obvious reasons it isn't. You have places further north than that. You've got places like Dornoch, again, literally one of the best courses in the world, isn't long enough, doesn't have the infrastructure up there to actually cope with it. You've got places like Royal Lytham, which was on the open. They're trying to buy more land to get it back there. What an incredibly challenging course. Down that coast, you've got West Lancs, incredible venue. That is, in my opinion, better than a lot of the coastal courses as well. That should be historically on the open rota, but it's not been long enough. You don't have the infrastructure there. It's the same issues again and again and again.
Yeah.
It comes down to it that a lot of tournament venues aren't played at, even the majors, because they're the best courses, because they have the best package available to be able to host an event of that magnitude. Because you telling me like Royal Cinque Ports, for example, down on the south coast, you could argue that's as good as Royal St. George's.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
And
Yeah.
it held an open back in the day.
Yeah.
Prince's next door, that held an open back in the day. That's just gone on a massive redevelopment.
Yeah.
There's so many courses where it's possible.
Yeah, and would you argue that some that are on the open rota are not like? I would say Royal Liverpool, an incredibly historic venue, obviously, but is it a strong venue?
Oh my God, you hate Hoylake.
No, I don't. I just, like you say, there's just along that coast. Along that coast
It's terrible that you're turning around this round on him, considering what you were saying about
exactly,
Royal Liverpool
yeah.
yesterday.
No, as far as the course goes, Royal Liverpool, I think I'd actually really like to be, say, like a member there.
Yeah.
As far as like a challenge goes, but for me, as far as an open course, there are better venues that aren't on the rota.
Yeah.
As far as courses go, as far as pure golf, as far as pure links.
So you need to choose one.
Yeah, if you could add one.
New course or kind of a course which has held the open before?
I reckon go both, because I've got one for both as well.
Okay, you go first then.
Mine would be Prestwick for a course that has had it before, and Wallasey as the new course.
Wallasey's great.
Yeah, Wallasey's very good, and I could see that. I feel like they've got access.
You'd have to change. Well, they are actually going through a process at Wallasey of like adding some new holes.
Yeah,
Excuse me, because you do get to a portion of that golf course like where it's in the low flat-lying land, and those holes lack a lot of definition compared to the ones which are up in the dunes.
yeah. That's just,
It's probably one of my favourite courses on that coast. I love going there. It's such a great vibe. It's such a great course. And then the changes that they're making will develop it into something completely different.
yeah. So they're mine.
Yeah, very good.
Yours?
I'm nowhere near knowledgeable enough, or have been to enough golf courses to be able to comment on this. I don't think.
Flixton.
Yeah. I would like, in an ideal world, I think it would be cool if it would be more, because it does seem like there's a lot of courses in these sorts of things that aren't what people think of as the best courses. I think most of it seems to come down to access and all that sort of thing, which is a shame. Like it would be nice in an ideal world if like it could be the top 5 or whatever at any given moment that can be the courses that host those events, and like whether if you don't maintain your course to that level that is required, then you drop out and then you can't host it anymore. So it's like proper golf courses hosting these events continuously like that, and then it changes based on how hard these clubs work to maintain and keep them going.
Yep. Can I just say how Prestwick would be a nightmare? Like, obviously the magnitude of the Open now. Imagine the amount of people on Prestwick.
I mean, a place like Prestwick, you'd probably have to say to the town, we are taking over this town. I hate to break it to you. This whole area is going to be shut down for about 2 weeks.
Your house is being repossessed.
Yes,
Can't get in, you can't get out. We're hosting everything. Railway service stopped. End of the line, right here, and just
get out and walk
and completely take over it. I think as far as a venue which is currently not on the rota to go back on the rota, I'd probably say Royal Lytham. It's such a challenging course, but it has just fallen slightly behind in what it needs to be to kind of host the Open. But it's a little bit
from a defensive standpoint, from an access standpoint, from what?
Like a length standpoint, and definitely access as well.
Right. Right.
It's just, but they're going through that redevelopment of trying to get it up to that standard, which, like I said, the Open requires. Whatever those like criteria are. A new course to add on. I mean, I'd love it. Like Royal Aberdeen. I'd love it to be Royal Aberdeen. What a venue! Like it's already got 9 of the best holes I've ever played on that front 9. Would it stand up to the test against these guys? I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's just my favourite course.
Yeah.
Imagine like Western Gales.
Western Gales. Do you know what? The only one I was ever going to say was Hillside.
Hillside's great. The only fear about Hillside is when they have when they had like the British Masters there, the Kazoo Classic, whatever it was. There were some really low scores.
Yeah,
like they really did give it a bit of a battering, because it's kind of hard to describe where these players, the very best players in the world, everybody knows that they're good. Everyone knows that they're good. Yeah. What I saw Xander like do at Troon. Like I honestly, like that final round, I didn't think that was possible. They are they're not better than us. They are so much better. It's like having a 15 handicap in between.
Between you and Xander, what do you mean?
So I reckon, let's say me and Xander. Yeah. Okay. If you put us out on the same course week after week, your average kind of golf course.
Yeah.
I reckon I'd be like a 10 handicapper compared to him.
Wow.
So if I went out and shot a 72, he'd probably go shoot a 62. He's a great player. And that's the same for like most tour pros.
Yeah.
And you think, well, actually, 72 versus 62, he's had a great day. You could have done better. That's fine.
Yeah.
But let's say we consistently did that over the course of a tournament. He's 40 shots better than me.
Wow.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
40 shots.
Yeah.
And it's honestly just it's a different world. So when you play these courses, and like when I play Royal Lytham, it's tough. It's a tough golf course, and shooting level par around there is a real achievement. But Xander might go around with a 63 and being like, well, it needs to be a bit tougher.
Well, there's only like Scotty around here and Labourd. Just
that's what I mean.
People were used to be on the board for breaking 80, and he goes around in his t-shirt and shoots 62.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe it?
And he is like the best player in the world, but even I don't believe that. No one could shoot 62 around there. off the back tee. It's not a chance.
No.
No.
Well, yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I mean, it did go on to like win a gold
Have you
medal.
learnt nothing this year? He's done a lot.
True. Yeah, true.
He's really
$70 odd million in winnings.
He is really, really good. Do you know how, on a kind of real tangent here, but I say to these guys, I'm lucky enough that, like at the Open, at other tour events, I'm lucky to get on the range, spend time with the players, see them strike the ball and all the rest of it. I've not actually seen Scotty play and practice properly before this year, and obviously he's had this monumental year. And I was on the range with him at Troon, and you go down the line, and like Rory, for example, when he's hitting, he hits it better than you could imagine. Like I imagine what Rory's hitting it like, but when he hits it, I'm like, that is just so freaking good.
Yeah.
That is special. Like you go to Bryson, especially when he's hitting his driver, and you're like, that is just, I just can't see that shot. It's unbelievable. Brooks when he's striking his irons, just epic. I got to Scotty on the range. I was like, he's dogging it. This is really disappointing. I was expecting to be stood there and be like completely bowled over. Be like, oh my God, this is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And he's just like, he's like healing it, he's thinning it. I'm like, what's it? I can't compute. I don't understand what's happening here. I don't get it. And then he kind of goes out and you kind of hear the interviews and like his whole process and how he just says like he hates being on the range.
Yeah.
Like he loves being out on the course, actually shaping the shots and seeing these things. And I'm like, God, I always think in my head, like you see the best players when you're at the range, like striking and all the rest of it. And he kind of showed me that week that, to be honest, there's so many players out there, that's just not the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like Spieth. I saw Spieth when he was at his prime on the range up close, and I was like, oh, it's fine. Like he's hitting it okay. It's okay. Like it's not bad. Like, but it's not that special. That was at Bird
Yeah.
No, they're just
when he won.
They've just got other stuff that's getting them, like other, Rory and Bryson or whatever, hitting the ball really well, but they have the intelligence and the all the rest of it that gets them around a golf course in such a good way.
That comes back to kind of personality as well, because I think I seem to remember you saying that Xander was just like every single shot on the range was just zoned in, sort of thing. So it comes down to
on the course. On the course, Xander was in his. I've never seen anyone in their own world so much. Like he had he almost looked. I don't know if the word's aura. It's not accurate from what he was like. He seemed to have like a space around him. It was almost like no one was near him. He was in his own little world, and he was just like dush, just like you couldn't break him out of it. But well, Rory on the range. Well, I said.
timestamp that.
Well, like Rory on the range at the Open at St Andrews, 150th. I've said this before, but I'm not joking, and I am not exaggerating. If I had access to my life savings, watching Rory hit it before he went out, I'd have put it on him to win. The way he was hitting it on that range, there was not a chat. There simply wasn't a world where he wouldn't win that event. I've never seen ball striking like it.
Yeah.
It was physically unbelievable. I was just stood behind him, mouth open, dripping. I had to mop myself up.
I'd love to see it.
I was practically lactating, and it was just unbelievable. And then he goes out and he just doesn't hold a putt. And that's the huge difference. Like there's players who do get on the course and they manage to be in this zone where they can go and win and bring it home.
That's definitely what just looking at a range doesn't get you, if they're going to hold putts or not.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't see him on the putting green once that week.
Oh, Rory.
Oh, bless you.
Rory.
There's always next year. Right, I think if we come to a crashing end of that podcast there.
That was really fun. I really enjoyed that. I love questions.
Some very good questions. Thank you, everyone.
Really well done.
Well, I think we'll do a few more of these. Like normally we're guided by kind of what we're doing, where we're at, like events and stuff. But yeah, we'll definitely do more of these Q&As.
Yeah, these are great.
Okay, cool. Sam, Kieran, thanks for
thank you, Peter.
Yeah, thank you, Peter.
sitting through. I do feel like it was a bit of it was a bit I don't know. I was in the hot seat today.
Well, like an interview.
Yeah, it's like proper interview. Yeah, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
I was thinking one.
Yeah, that was the one.
Anyway,
I was
right.
trying to keep it straight. I was trying to
Hey,
keep it straight.
I think you did great. I think you answered.
Oh, thanks.
I think you answered great questions.
You know what? This is just like being in an interview now. And you know what? I'll walk out this door. I won't get the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll discuss between us. So at the end, say, I don't think he's got it. I don't think he's committed enough.
There's something about him. I just can't.
He just gave me bad vibes.
I just can't put my finger on. Yeah, like that one. Right. Okay. We are heading away, guys. Thank you for listening wherever you are. Thank you for watching. If you're wrapping your eyes around this podcast, and we will see you next time. And you know what? I might not be on the next podcast. Oh no, I will, because we're recording this.
This is the
next
and which
podcast
is
in which
the
you
next
refer.
one, and then the other one will be.
America.
Oh no, are we going to be in America?
Believe so.
Yeah. That's right.
Again.
Oh, I just did it. Yeah.
Yeah, America.
Literally.
And on that bombshell, we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.